Hi, my name is Raghav and I am a nanotechnology engineering graduate from University of Waterloo. I'm currently working as a software developer, and in this video I'm going to be answering your questions that you have sent me about the whole engineering program at University of Waterloo, the nanotechnology engineering program in specific, and how coming from the nanotechnology engineering program I was able to get my jobs in software engineering. And if you have any questions that I did not answer, just feel free to shoot me an email or just send me a message on what question you want to be answered, and I will make another video answering more questions on the nanotechnology engineering or University of Waterloo program. So let's look at the questions. The first one is, how did you transition from nanotechnology engineering degree to a career in software? I'm gonna say the nanotechnology engineering degree in itself provides you very little courses about software engineering, because obviously if you want to learn software engineering, you can go to software engineering. But in my experience, I've seen a lot of students who go to nanotechnology engineering program and end up working in software. So how did I transition from this program to a career in software? Well, that was majorly because of hackathons, which I discovered during my time in the University of Waterloo. What are hackathons? Which, by the way, I have some other videos too on my channel that you should check out. And the other thing is, all of my co-ops, nanotechnology engineering program is a co-op program. So all of my co-ops were in the field of software. So that's how I was able to transition, because definitely you need a lot of work experience to be able to get a software job. And at that time I didn't know that I need a lot of work experience. So my first internship that I did, I had to work basically for free, which was fun in terms of getting more experience, but not fun in terms of getting paid, because I wasn't paid much. I guess we'll talk about this more in upcoming questions, but for now let's move on. Next question, does nanotechnology engineering program provide opportunities to explore fields like software development? Well, like I just said, yes and no, because the only courses that were mandatory as part of the program that I actually did some programming was a Python course in my first year, and in my second year there was a MATLAB course. So those are those programming courses that you're going to learn majorly, because later down the line in your third year or your fourth year, you're going to be doing some simulations using Python. For example, Monte Carlo experiments and stuff like that, quantum mechanics. So you might need MATLAB for that. Or Python, so that's why you have those courses. But in your third year and your fourth year, you get to choose electives. And therefore, for me, I took some computer science electives. Well, not computer science courses, because like they're only reserved for computer science students. I was able to take some, one was a machine learning course, and one of them was a introduction to algorithms and data structures course that I took. And actually, those were quite nice courses. Those were courses from the ECE department, which you can take as electives. So some courses you have to get approved from the dean, or some courses you have to get approved from the department or the professor. But once those are approved for you to take as electives, then you can go ahead and take those software courses. But in terms of program itself, it's only going to give you one or two courses that you're going to actually learn programming. Everything else you have to do kind of on your own. Are there specific courses or electives you recommend that would be beneficial for a career in software? Well, I wouldn't talk about a career in software, because I know if you're watching this video, probably you're getting into the nanotechnology engineering program. So I will tell you, so I wouldn't talk about beneficial for a career specific in software, because you can just take a lot of other online courses on your own to actually gain more software experience or make more projects. I'm just gonna tell you what nanotechnology engineering courses might be beneficial for you in general. So for me, I would say take the course that you know that you'll get the highest marks in as an elective. So don't try to opt for difficult electives, because elective is a place where you can take your marks. Because in your third year and fourth year, I don't know for other students, but for me, some of the courses were really, really tough. So I just wanted to get passing marks in those courses, and I used my electives to actually bring up my overall average so I could pass the term. And that's what I would recommend also, that if you're choosing an elective, make sure that you're comfortable with the subject, you know what the course offering is, and you know that you'll be able to score really, really high in that elective. And that's going to benefit you later down the line. That's just my advice. What skills from the nanotechnology program have been most applicable in the industry after you graduated? I would say, in terms of skills, it depends really what field of study you choose after you graduate. So if you decide to go in the field, there are some nanotechnology engineering specific jobs, like you can become a research assistant, you can go into fabrication, microfabrication, and a lot of other fields. So those skills that you take on, you can use in your field specific. You'll be benefited more if you continue your studies or go for a master's program, because this knowledge you're going to use to build upon more knowledge as you study your master's or a PhD. So if you're into that, nanotechnology engineering program will be really helpful for you. If you want to go out in the field, it might be a little bit harder for you to find actually nanotechnology engineering jobs. Reason being, because first of all, companies who are hiring like research people, they're mostly preferring people with work experience or with more experience, or even if you do get hired, expect a salary like just a median average salary for the field. Don't expect too high unless you go to the US, where you can obviously find jobs that pay you a lot more. But just in terms of skills that you learn in this program, you would be better off studying further to build on these skills rather than getting into the field. So that's my recommendation. But if you want to go into the software field like I did, then of course those programming skills will help. But in that case, you have to kind of decide beforehand which field you want to go, and then based on that you can take electives. For example, you can take some computer science or ECE electives that'll later help you down the line understand the software field better. How did you leverage co-op placements to gain experience relevant to software? Well, this is the most important things now. So my first job was in the BETS program. This is a really nice program, to be honest. You're not at the time that I was doing this program, I wasn't paid. I was paid like a $3,000-4,000 as credit to the tuition fee. But that was my first co-op, and I highly recommend you do that too, if you can, because first you have to apply it, then you get interviewed, and then you get placed in the program, and then you get some training for a week, and then you get placed in 3 or 4 different startups, and you can choose what kind of startups you want to be placed in. So for me, I chose the startups that were working with software, and that's how I gained my software experience. Some people chose to get to work with the startups that are more towards the biomedical field or some research field. So that is their choice. My choice was to go into the software startups, and BETS program. I'm linking the links in the description that you can check out. But that's not the only thing that's going to help you down the line. I would say hackathons. Look up hackathons and go to a lot of them, and make projects and put them in your resume, and that's going to help you a lot in getting your software jobs. Are there clubs or projects at Waterloo that you found helpful? University of Waterloo has a lot of projects. If you during your fall term, if you go to the Student Life Center, which is a building, you'll find a lot of clubs that are there to advertise themselves, and then you can join based on your liking. I personally didn't join any clubs per se. I was part of the music club, which was nice for the first year, but later down the line in your second year and third year, this program demands your time, so you really gotta be good at time management, because you'll need to divide your time accordingly, and your assignments, your midterms, they're all taking a lot of times and resources out of you. So for me, I couldn't afford to spend time in clubs or projects. I had to focus on studies. That being said, there are 2 really nice projects. So one is the Autonomous, which is the autonomous car project at Waterloo, which you should definitely check out. And the second one is Waterloop, which is like a I think they're making some sort of train that uses magnetic levitation, and they all go compete in some competition. I wasn't part of them, but I wished I was part of them because it was really cool, and a lot of students from mechatronics program go there. But that being said, if you are a nanotechnology engineering student, definitely check these out because it's going to help you a lot, and you're going to get a lot of things to add to your resume. Networking advice. How did you build professional relationships that aided your career shift? Well, professional relationships, honestly, you're going to build down the line as you go to your classes. Of course, you're going to meet students when they graduate. They're going to go to different jobs, different career fields. That being said, my recommendation would be always whoever you meet, is if there's any new person, or sometimes you have seminars, people come and do seminars, always go talk to them, introduce yourself, and even your professors. You never know, in the future you might need a internship, or you might want a professor to be your mentor, or might want them to take you as an apprentice, or you might want a professor to take you as a candidate for future studies like masters or PhD. Do talk to your professors and tell them who you are, tell them about yourself, introduce yourself, connect with them, and always send up follow-up emails. Stay connected with your professors. Your professors are a really good resource for your professional relationships at your university time. How did you manage pursuing interests in software while keeping up with nanotechnology studies? Like I said, yes, I was taking 1 or 2 courses in my free time, or in my those break that you get for a week while you're studying, to do some courses on my own. But most of my software experience came from the internship. See, the first one that I got was a software, like the BETS program placed me with 3 different startups. That gave me something to get started with. So after I had that in my resume, it got a little bit easier to get future software internships, which actually paid me. So after I worked for basically free, after I worked for the BETS program, my next co-op program, co-op was with another company called Zayo, which was like a telecommunications company, and they paid me around $17.5 an hour at that time in 2019 or 2018. So it was okay for me to gain like $17.5 an hour just sitting at my desk developing software. So I liked it. Personally, it was more demanding mentally, but less demanding physically. So that's something that I preferred at that time. So I liked that job. I was okay with that salary. So as I gained that experience, my future jobs that I got paid me a little bit more than that. What is the job market like for the nanotechnology engineering graduates? Yes, this is a really good question. So for job market, there is a huge job market for the students who are scoring really high 99, 98 percentile in the program. If you have really good grades, then nanotechnology engineering specific jobs, you have a lot of scope. Even I saw some of my classmates who had really good scores went to MIT as a research assistant, went to MIT to do jobs, or some went to Stanford, to US. There is a lot of nano specific jobs that the doors will open for you if you have good grades. But if you are like me and you have average grades or just passing grades, then it's going to be really hard for you to even land a research assistant job within the university with a professor. Reason being because in your first year, your grades are the only thing that reflect what kind of student you are, because employers don't have any other information. They don't have information about your work experience. Unless you have work experience before you came to the university, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to get nano specific jobs, which was also one of the reason I wanted to move to software, because I can display my skills by showing that, I made these software projects on computer. Because I had some projects during my high school. I was able to gather up a file, which I also talk about in a different video, which I have linked here, how I got my first software job. So I had those, and then I was able to get my first internship, and after that getting further internships became easier. But in terms of market for nanotechnology engineering, yes, you need to get good grades and it's gonna open more doors for you. Otherwise, of course, you can keep applying for a lot of jobs and then eventually you will find a job that fits you. Did you consider or pursue additional certificates or education to enter the software field? After I graduated, I was able to get a job in software, a full-time offer, which I got by cold emailing recruiters. I emailed like 600 recruiters, on which also I have made another video. I've linked in the description. So I emailed them and one of the recruiters reached out to me and connected me with the hiring manager. And then a month later, they offered me a role. I would say maybe I got lucky in this. At that time, the recruiter was really nice. And then she was trying to be helpful. Because like obviously I wrote a really big essay in my email like, oh, I'm looking for a job, here are the skills I bring to the table. But otherwise, like certifications wise, later down the career I did an AWS certification, and I also did a Canadian securities course, which I haven't used so far. I don't know how I'm going to use it, but I just have a Canadian securities course certification, and then AWS certification obviously helped. But I don't think you need these specific certifications as long as you have good experience, a lot of projects, and you're actually interested in the field. I think you should be good in like entering the software field even while being from nanotechnology engineering. One thing I would say is don't keep on jumping the programs, right? Like I see some people coming to the nanotechnology engineering program and they're like, oh, I want to switch to software. And at that time it's really hard because first you got to switch to math, and then you got to switch to nanotechnology, and then you got to switch to software. And if you don't have good grades in your first year, especially in calculus, math is not going to take you. So you can stay in nanotechnology engineering and still be able to become a software developer, and no one's going to stop you or say like, oh, you have an experience in different field, why you're working in software. It's actually just going to help you further. Maybe somewhere you'll go into embedded systems where you'll actually use some nanotechnology fabrication knowledge. In fact, one of the interviews I had with AMD as a motherboard embedded like a optimization like a engineer, the team lead of that team actually had a master's in nanotechnology engineering. So that was quite a shock for me that okay, you can have a master's in nano program and still be part of the software team. So something to look up and something to look into. Are there any professors or faculty members who support students interested in software? Yes. One of my favorite profs, name, I think, I'm not sure if he's still working at the university, but at that time, he was a really good resource in terms of helping students who want to get into software. And we also had some classes. Our linear algebra course was with him, and his name is Douglas Hodder. And he's a really cool prof, and I really admire him for his effort. And he has a huge website which is open source and can teach you all his CS courses that he's teaching about algorithms and data structures and C++. And it's all that information he compiled himself, and it's sitting there online on his website, which I'm going to link in the description, by the way. Do check it out. And really cool prof. What resources at Waterloo did you find most helpful for career development? There is a whole building dedicated to your career development, and I highly recommend that you use those resources. You can book, I actually forgot what the building is called, but if you are studying at University of Waterloo or you're going there, just go there, and then if you ask anyone where I can schedule, which building I can schedule interviews, they're going to point you to that building. It's right next to the Dana Porter Library, and it's a really good resource. You can book resume reviews, you can book mock interviews, and those actually help you a lot in your first year. So please use those resources. They're free for you, and if you're not using them, you're basically losing money. So get the most out of the tuition fee that you pay and use those resources. What would you do differently if you were starting the program again? I would go to a lot of hackathons. I cannot express enough the importance of going to hackathons, because they basically started my software career. I didn't know initially, but later down the line, as I went to more hackathons, I realized that, I actually didn't really need to work for like no wage in my first internship. I could have just went to a lot of hackathons before even I came to the university, or because there are a lot of high school hackathons as well. I could have just like made a lot of projects, added them to my resume, and applied to some software jobs. And it is possible because I have recommended these to first year students, and they worked through this plan and they were able to land really nice internships. So that's something that I would do differently, but I don't have any regrets that I did the BETS program, because obviously the BETS program was so good and it gave me like 3 different experiences for 3 different roles, full stack, web developer, backend developer. So I'm really grateful to the BETS program too. Also check that out. I've linked it in the description. How is the workload like in the nanotechnology program? The first year and the second year, okay, I'm gonna be honest. What I saw was like we started with around 150-ish students in the batch, and then by the end of the term there were like 98, 97 students who actually graduated. Some moved streams, some switched programs, some drop out, some didn't pass the terms and they had to repeat the terms. So it really depends person by person, but in general the first year is a little bit intensive, as in like some courses are just refreshers of your high school studies, but you gotta come to that. You gotta start getting used to that pace of studying at Waterloo, because in the nano program, you're not gonna get any like long summer breaks, because your summer break is going to be consumed in the co-op program, and some summer terms are actually study terms. So you don't get a break. The most you get is a reading week or long weekends. That's all the holidays you get. So for 5 years, you're basically either on work term or you're on a study term. And then there's like 5-10 days between those terms that you can relax. But basically, you gotta get used to that like quick hustle. Like you gotta get used to that speed. Some students, they in their first year, second year, they just like keep having fun. They go to a lot of parties, but then they realize like, okay, there's a lot of workload. So you can't just like study at the end moment and still be able to clear the exams. You gotta study throughout the term. You gotta keep up with the assignments. So my best advice is, do your work or don't do your work. It doesn't matter. Just at least go to all the lectures. If you attend all the lectures, then there's a high chance that you already caught up with 80% of the material. You just need to revise a little bit before the exam. But if you're attending lectures and you are keeping up with the lectures, then I think you should be good. So workload wise, it's good. In third or fourth year, it gets really intensive, because obviously you have labs, you got to write work term reports, you got to write like, there's like PD courses that you're going to get. These are the courses that you get while you're on work term. So those are also really intensive. So be prepared to like be a little fast paced, but at the same time, enjoy yourself in those small breaks that you get, relax yourself, and then keep moving forward. What should I focus on making my resume attractive to employers? I have a whole video on this topic. Please check it out. I tell you like 3 or 4 tips on how to make your resume ATS friendly, because once it crosses the ATS, then it reaches the employer. So you want the resume to bypass the ATS. So check that video out, and basically go get a lot of resume reviews from upper year students, or your the resume reviews that you get from the career development building. Are you happy with your decision to work in software, and why? Yes, I'm really happy to work in software, because I'm the kind of person who finds it really hard to stand throughout the day in research jobs, or like go through a lot of research papers and like look at a lot of journals, or like work in a laboratory for like the whole day. I'm not that kind of person. I like working on my desk on the computer. So I'm pretty happy with my choice. And I'm also happy that I didn't switch into software engineering. I'm happy that I stayed in nano, because the nanotechnology engineering gives you like an edge above like those students who are, obviously if you're a software engineering student, yes, you're gonna get those Meta, Facebook, Google job offers, or if you're in computer science, of course you're gonna get those, but if you work hard, you can still graduate the nano program and still be able to work in the software field. I wouldn't say I'm working in like a really big tech company, but I'm pretty satisfied with the job that I have, and like I'm pretty happy with my role and the company that I'm working at. So that's something to consider. For me, I'm okay working in software and I actually like it. For different people, it could be different. Did you consider pursuing a master's degree and would you recommend it? I did consider pursuing a master's degree, but in terms of I wanted to get a master's degree in software, but for that, the requirement is I must have some software experience, which is what I'm doing right now. And I'm also like studying on the side a little bit about computer science. So later down the line, I might pursue a master's degree, but for now, I just want to get more job experience. For students who want to go in the nano specific field and research, for them, a master's degree I would highly recommend. Can you recommend any books, courses, or online resources for software skills? If you are a University of Waterloo student, LinkedIn Learning is free for you basically. So you can use your university ID to log into LinkedIn Learning and you can have access to all those courses and you can learn whatever you want from there. Which soft skills are most important in the industry while looking for a co-op? Soft skills in general are really important if you're looking for a co-op. And I think over your career, you're going to develop more and more soft skills. Most first years don't have that like intuition that, okay, I need to include these soft skills in my resume, or like I need to portray these soft skills while I'm interviewing. But as you go on, take on more internships, you're going to learn. For now, I would say that communication and taking on responsibility and leadership, these are like really important soft skills. So in anything that you do, you gotta show the employer that, okay, you are someone who takes on responsibility. And secondly, you gotta always communicate. So whatever you do, you need to document it and you gotta communicate it, because you need to sell yourself, right? So you gotta show everyone that what you did and how you achieved it, and you gotta show your state of mind. So there's a book called Show Your Work, which is really nice, and I recommend that you read that. Always like show your work, that what you did and how you achieved there, which is really gonna help you down the line, especially in this program. How soon should I start applying for software related co-ops or internships? Just as soon as you in your first year, second term, you're gonna get access to that Waterloo Works portal. They have like rounds, like first round, second round. Jobs keep coming and you can keep applying. Just apply as many jobs as you can, and that's gonna really help you increase your chances of getting a match. That being said, don't just stick to Waterloo Works. Also look for internship outside Waterloo Works. And the best way to do that is LinkedIn. Don't trust Indeed for now, because it doesn't have quality internships. I would say LinkedIn. And secondly is cold emailing. So you need to send messages to recruiters or cold email recruiters and ask for internships or like any job openings, or like tell them like what makes you special. Did you explore any entrepreneurial opportunities during or after your studies? Yes, there are so many entrepreneurship opportunities that you can explore, especially if you're affiliated with Velocity. Check out Velocity like pitch competitions. They are so good. You can literally just like come up with a business idea, sign up with Velocity and like go and pitch your idea. Even if you don't have a team, just do it. And they would give you funding to continue working on your idea. The thing is, in nanotechnology engineering, you might not have enough time to work on your like business ideas, but if you want to be a startup founder down the line, do check out Velocity. It's a really good resource. I'm going to link all those resources below. And right in your first year, you're going to have some time, because later in further years, like second year, third year, you're going to be like loaded with courses. So first year, you're going to have a little bit of easy going. So explore all those entrepreneurial opportunities. Go to a lot of pitch competitions. Actually see those videos on YouTube, like what other people are doing. Come up with a startup idea. Try to develop it into something big. And you can even take like some business courses, for example, as your electives. Some BET courses are really nice. So check them out. And there is a professor, Professor Wayne Chang, and I'm going to link his profile in the description too. Reach out to him and he's going to guide you. Like reach out to him and ask him questions about what you can do to be a better entrepreneur, like have any create your own ideas. This professor is also really cool, just like Douglas Hodder, and you should definitely check them out. What common mistakes should I avoid during my time at the university? uh, the most common mistake is not going to classes. So please attend all your lectures. If you attend all your lectures, you're not making any mistake. Are there any scholarships or grants that I should apply for? There are a lot of scholarships and grants, but also which you can find online, but also during your career, during your university, there are some competitions like Stanford Fleming competitions in which you just go and you have to prepare a pitch deck, you have to speak on some topic, or you have to write an essay, and they're gonna give you like some scholarship or funding towards your tuition. So that's a resource to check out for. How did you balance theoretical studies with practical application? Yes, this is also a really nice question. I remember we used to have a lot of courses in MATLAB and simulations. There's a software that simulates like physics, so you have to do a lot of simulations in labs. So there's like practical application, and then there are actual labs where you have to go and like do microfabrication and like make wafers. Wafers are like those silicon discs, which you will learn about later in the program. But yeah, there is a lot of theory and there is a lot of practical application. And yes, you need to learn how to balance it. So attending lectures is going to help you a lot, because once you're caught up with the theory, somewhere in your mind, it's going to be easy for you to do the practical application. Because for me, sometimes I missed those lectures, and then when I came to the lab or like I'm doing those practical application, it was hard for me to relate, because like those links weren't developed yet, because I hadn't gone through all my lectures. So it's when you have a lot of labs, it's really fast paced, because you got to keep up with the labs, and then you also need to keep up with those lectures. So balance your time that way, and like do some time management around your life. Like, oh, I'm coming home from university, I'm gonna study like at least 1 hour, 2 hour to these courses, and then I'm gonna go play or do whatever I need to do. So finding that balance is really important. I guess that would be all for these Q&A. If you have any other questions, like I mentioned earlier, feel free to send it to me and I'll make another video answering those questions. So that was all for this video, and I'll see you in the upcoming videos.